Welcome everyone to another interview with one of our fund traders. Today we're hosting Austin from the US. Hi Austin, how are you today?
Oh, I'm doing great. Just ready to get another day of trading going.
I think it's very early in the morning there for you.
Yeah, it's like seven in the morning for me right now.
That's perfect. I'm really curious about like what sessions do you trade, but before that, let's start with how did you get into this trading journey overall?
Yeah, I see what got me really started was when COVID happened, and I was working a restaurant job here in Fort Worth, and realized that I needed a way to make money in case like my job disappeared or got laid off. I was like, I need to find a way to make money online, and I had kind of already been exposed to trading and Forex like a few years prior to 2020, but 2020 made me get serious with, really diving into this. And it wasn't until like 2021 where I was trying to get funded on these prop firms that were popping up at the time. And I didn't get funded until so it took me like a whole year of trying to get funded on 100K accounts. And 2023 I got funded and built up like a pretty good capital.
That's
Like
great. How much funded capital do you have right now?
right now I just have 300K. I have
That's good.
200 here, 100K somewhere else, and then um but mainly I've just been using the payouts that I got last year to
Mhm.
kind of have my buffer. So a lot of people are risk averse on the funded accounts,
Yep.
but I trade rather risky on the funded accounts, and I've kind of had to cut back on a lot of my risk because a lot of the firms are kind of bringing back the risk.
Yep.
Um, but yeah, that's essentially what I'm doing. I'm just managing a couple 100K accounts and then going pretty risky on them because I have a big reserve pile of cash from payouts last year.
I see.
So I don't mind losing accounts and stuff.
if I might ask, what would you say about the total amount of payouts that you received last year?
Last year, 110K in payouts.
That's very good. That's very good. I'm only asking because you say you're going risky with the funded accounts, and that is actually contradict every other funded trader that we host here. So I needed to ask, to show people that maybe it's just all about how can the person actually risk, right? So it's not just
Yeah,
going with a proper, not going with a certain kind of risk management, but also managing the real life savings, etc. So maybe you're just thinking about that.
yeah. Managing risk on prop firms is such a different thing than managing risk in your overall portfolio.
Yeah, how do you
So
think so?
I mean, it's so situational and it really depends on the person.
Yep.
So for me, if I didn't have that cash reserves from last year, I wouldn't be trading so risky because I would need those accounts
Yep.
to siphon the income. But now, and now that I'm kind of built a nice little farm of accounts that I can trade a little bit here, trade a little bit there, make sure that I'm getting my income, but on one of the accounts, just go really crazy with the risk on it because what did it cost me? 400 bucks for a 100K account.
Yep.
And it's my skill that got me to pass the accounts. Like
Exactly.
I passed the phase 1 and the phase 2 relatively quickly, but
Yeah.
I'll also burn some of them relatively quickly. But in my mind, I'm like, all right, it cost me $350, $400 to get that. I'd rather just get to the funded account as quick as it's a common theme between a lot of people is everyone tries to go through the phase one and phase two quickly and then trade for real on the funded account. But like you can just continue trading as risky as you were on the, you know, the phase one and the phase two if you have the skill set and you can, you know, manage your risk. Like I'm always like the new rule is, you know, 3% risk per max trade. And I only trade one instrument or one, I trade a couple, but for the most part, just NASDAQ. And I just go in there every single day and risk the max that I can risk. But how I go about that is, you know, I'm not necessarily risking the whole 3% on a 10-point move.
Yeah.
Like I'll scale in, put in a little tester position, get in a little bit of drawdown, but then when it's that final moment where my idea starts to roll over, that's when I'll add size. And if it doesn't work out, then boom, you lose your 3% for the day, and then you come try again tomorrow. But on the
I
other
understand that.
on the other side of risking that 3% is a 6%, 9% gain. So that's how I
I
go about
understand that. But with that math, it means that you're only going to be able to lose 3 trades back to back on a 10% max total drawdown account, right? And
it.
on for
Typically,
the fourth one.
yeah,
So what do you do for the fourth one?
typically though, my win rate is around like 75%.
Okay, that's what I'm trying to learn. So, you think that your strategy can actually carry on that risk management, and then you feel comfortable risking 3%.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I have data to, you know, back up that kind of claim. Like
Yeah,
on one of the 100K accounts that I was milking profits from last year, you know, most people get a funded account, get a payout, and then burn it.
yep,
I had one account last year, 100K funded account that I had going up until the prop firm disappeared.
that's
Like
good. How
had
many
it
months in total?
probably, let's see, from might have been like 7 months.
That's
Seven
great.
months, I withdrew over 70K from that specific account.
That is very consistent. So, I also have another question related to that. You said you started like receiving payouts in 2023, but up until 2023. So you passed your first funded account. I'm really curious about what happened to that very first account. Were you able to receive a payout from that? And if you did, how much was it? And if you did not, how long it took you to receive your first payout after you got funded for the first time?
Okay, so it was 2021 where I was trying to get funded,
Yeah.
but it's like I did get funded like pretty quickly, except I just couldn't get to the payout.
Yeah.
I got funded probably after a few months of trying. I remember it was around I'll never forget. Yeah, my first funded account, I had gotten it around Christmas time, probably of 2021, rolling into 2022. And I think it was a New Year's party or something that night, and I blew my funded account. Like
Oh,
I got it. I got the credentials that morning and then was just trading like a fool, blew the account, was like, what the hell? Or like, you know, why did I just, you know, ruin that? And from that point, it took me over a year of trying to get funded where, you know, throughout the time I would pass some phase ones, fail a phase two, fail the phase one, pass the phase one, pass the phase two, get funded, then fail it, not get a payout. It was that type of process for a whole year, about a
yeah.
year and a half of continually trying. And even like maybe halfway through it, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to start loading money in a personal account. I don't think funded accounts are for me. But I mean, I'm really glad
Interesting.
that I stuck through it because, yeah, it paid off for sure.
I'm really glad that you did actually, because let's say that you also mentioned that for 400, like $400 you can buy a 100K account, and $400 you can also trade on your personal account, right? In order to make that 400 into 4,000, you will need to make 900% profit, right?
It's
But
ridiculous.
yeah, to make it 4,000. But with the funded account, you only need to make like 8%, and then 5%, and then 5% on the funded. So that's like 18%. And then boom, $4,000 of payout right in front of you. So instead of making 900%, just make 18%, and then you're good to go. So I'm really glad that you took the road with the prop firms actually, because I
See,
also believe that it's according, like, risk to reward ratio is higher than a personal account for sure.
See, this is the thing though, and then this is a tip for people that are trying to do this though, is I would do it a bit differently now. Now that I know what I know, the prop firm space really has set it up for people to come in here and learn how to properly trade. Because if I could go back in time, those 2 years of me trying to get funded, I didn't even know how to profitably trade at that time. It's
Yeah.
like I was using the prop firms to learn, but at the time those 100K accounts were just, those were expensive for me at the time.
Yeah.
So what I would recommend, and this is what I have quite a few friends that in my real life that I've been putting on to trading, and what I've been recommending to them is to use prop firms like y'all, where y'all offer a cheap little 5K account for 36 bucks. Like, yo, just buy $36 accounts for 5K. And if you can learn how to manage your risk on that 5 grand account, because it's the same thing on all the accounts, you just have to translate the numbers.
Yeah.
So learn how to actually trade and develop a profitable system on the cheapest accounts. And then once you pass one, pass two, and you have like a 5K funded, and you say you pass like 3 5K funded, and you got a little 15K allocation. Well, boom, all of a sudden you have the skill set. That's what we're looking for. We're not looking for the money, because the money's going to come after, once you actually know how to be a profitable trader. So leverage the small accounts, develop a system where you're like, okay, I can translate this to the bigger accounts. And then you use your skill set to develop your portfolio, rather than use money from your real life and just continually try and fund this thing and lose a bunch of money, losing accounts because you're like, I don't even know how to trade actually.
Yeah.
That's a problem that just a lot of people have, and it took me, years to get out of it. So it can be, you can cut that down, people, by just starting small and not focusing on the money.
Yeah. I also have another question related to this, because I think it's a theory of mine, and I think it's really important. And I think you might be the right person to ask this, regarding your answer might actually be a good advice for others out there. So, in my theory, success is not a chart that goes right up in time, but rather it's very parabolic. And what I mean by that is that at first you work a lot and you don't see any results. Actually, there are some results, but they're insignificant to your physical understanding, right? But at some point, you think that you're going somewhere. Now it's just too late to go back. But you also don't know how long you'll need to go in order to success in this thing, right?
Yep.
But after some point, let's say that you first started to get funded and you worked a lot, like a year to get funded, right? And
Mhm.
then to receive your, let's say, $1,000 payout, just $1,000, and it took you, let's say, 6 months to receive $1,000 of payout, right? But after that, to receive $10,000 payout, it only took you just 2 months, maybe.
Exactly.
The like the time compresses actually
Sure.
over, right? Because it's not this, but it's
That's
rather this. It's
the thing.
going up. So would you agree with that?
I agree. Yeah, this thing isn't linear, and it's very true. It's exponential, and it snowballs once you get momentum. And the
Yeah.
thing is, like that, this is what you also have to remember, guys. Like, I had all of that success last year, but at the beginning of this year, kind of when the prop firms were going through all that turmoil with the US clients, me being a US client, like I had a lot of uncertainty with the prop firms.
Yeah.
And I, especially the ones that at the time that I was working with, like I had just made, that 110K in 2023. And then the first few months of 2024, it seemed like all the prop firms were about to disappear or
Yeah.
something. And I was like, oh shoot, like I need to still figure out how to make 20K a month, like because I just started to get used to that. I was like, I don't want to give that away. And so I tried trading my own personal capital, and I burned a significant portion of my profits from 2023. But then it was January where I probably blew half of my profits from last year trading personal. I was like, I just completely went off the rails because the week before I had made like 26K personal trading in one day by myself. And I was starting to get really crazy momentum, but it also kind of just, I was too high
Yeah.
from the wins.
Yeah.
So I ruined it. And then the next month I was like, you know what? I'm going to get funded again because the funded accounts that I had disappeared because certain prop firms left. And so I was like, you know what? I don't want to trade my personal capital because it's just too dangerous. I need
Yeah.
to get back on the horse, find a funded company that I can, rock with.
Yeah.
I came here. This is where, since that journey, or since that happened, I came here. And so January I did that, and then February I had made like 40K in payouts.
That's very nice to know.
Like, okay, I can still do this. And then March took another big loss on my portfolio, like my overall portfolio. Like I traded some personal capital, burnt a lot of it, burnt some funded accounts. But then now I'm kind of like, okay, I needed to chill out around March
Yeah.
and kind of just get back to where I was. How was I trading when I was, averaging 10 to 20% a month? I
Yeah.
just looked inwards, like, how did I do that? And I realized I just needed to start small again. It,
Oh.
it all comes back if you start small and build your buffer, which is a common thing in prop. Like, you need to just build buffer at first. You need to
Yeah.
build actual profits that you can risk and
That's
not,
good advice.
yeah.
That's actually good advice. But I realize that you've also seen a lot of difficulties in your trading journey regarding your trading behavior, I will say, but that's not actually what I mean. But what I mean is that you worked hard to get funded at first, and then you got funded, and then uh, relatively your risk management is kind of riskier than a lot of traders out there, but because you see things differently, right? You think of it as like risk to reward ratio, like I paid this much and then I will receive this much. So
100.
what would you say the most difficult part of this trading journey for you? I've seen, like, I can hear a lot of difficulties, but which one was the hardest, and how did you actually overcome that?
So, I mean, it's a thing that I'm still overcoming. It's like I don't think you ever, I don't think you ever necessarily master that. It's
Yeah.
a constant thing that, you know, in this industry and in this pursuit of trading,
Yeah.
you're always at risk. If the market is open, you are at risk because your mind can look at the chart and see things that aren't there and make you make decisions and put your capital at risk
Yeah.
just because the chart's moving. You What I've learned with trading, and it's still it is hard,
Yeah.
but when you really lock into it and you're like, okay, the main thing is, are you focused?
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely.
When the
Because
when the hours that the market is open, what are you doing? Are you
yeah.
paying attention to the market? Are you laying out a game plan? Are you restricting yourself? Because there are certain times you need to restrict yourself from making any decisions market related.
Yeah.
So for me, you're asking what sessions do I trade? I don't. I look at Tokyo session. I'm always looking at the chart. I'm always looking right before I go to sleep for London, but I don't trade those sessions. I
Yeah.
know the big moves that you can literally make money during those sessions during London. But for me in the asset I trade NASDAQ. And yeah, there are moves during London where I'm like, damn, I should have put in a limit order when I went to sleep. But no, it's like you don't need a bunch of trades and you don't need a bunch of entries. What you need is that one solid high probability move. The one
Yeah.
where, I'm trying to get that 100% win rate on, where it's like, when I go in at this time because of this, I'm probably 90% of the time going to win that trade.
Yeah.
So that you have to just this whole industry and this whole pursuit, it just comes down to what you're focused on. Are you distracted? You're asking what I do in the morning. The morning to get set up for the trading session is so important. The amount of
It is.
time that I've lost money because I wasn't focused or I didn't do my proper, checklist, which
Yeah.
it's simple stuff. It's get up, drink water, go outside, get sunlight in your eyes. I have a dog, so I take him on a walk. So that way, I take him on a long walk before the session, because during the session, I can't take him for a 10-minute walk while I have money on the line.
Yeah.
Because what happened, the amount of times that this has happened to me where I'd say I didn't do that in the morning and I take him out for a walk while I'm in the session, and say I leave a trade open and I come back and the trade is completely gone against me. And I'm like, you know what? If I was sitting here paying attention to this, I wouldn't have let this happen. Like, why was I going on a walk? And
Yeah.
it's just because I wasn't focused. I'm distracted. Why didn't I have that handled beforehand? And
Yeah.
these are the things that these are just my struggles. These are going to be different for everyone. Everyone is going to have some type of distraction that is keeping them from looking at these candles and giving them ideas. Like, this is
Yeah.
all you need to be focusing on
Yeah.
to make real money.
And definitely understand that. And I'm sure a lot of traders also go through with that, getting funded, receiving a payout, and then like blowing that account and then trying to get funded again for a month or like for a week,
Mm-hmm.
whatever. And but the cycle continues, and then the overall consistency, uh, there is not much consistency after that point, right?
Right.
But when you speak like that, I'm very curious about like how you approach the market. So would you show us a few trades of yours from your trading view screen?
Yeah. Okay. Let me go to my trading view. I'm trying to think of some moves that I've been catching.
Okay.
Do you see my screen?
Yes, I do.
Let's see. I'm trying to. So, yeah. Let's see. Trying to Because actually last week I traded US 30. What did I try? I kind of would like to go. Can I pull up my trade locker?
Yes, you can actually.
Yeah, I think I would rather do that.
Oh, do you mean like showing your trades?
Yeah, should I do that? Because I don't
Uh,
really remember even like what I.
I think you can check them on another tab and show us on TradingView, like maybe the parts where you took your trades.
Okay, yeah. Let me
Yep.
go. Let me go look at some trades and reference.
Yep.
Let's see. Because I actually just got a new funded account somewhere. Let's see. Let's see. I'm looking at some of my old trades. I got a lot of buys on NASDAQ from 19. Okay, yeah, here's one. What day was this? I think this was Wednesday of last week. Okay, yeah, I remember this move. Let's go to there. This one was a simple one for me.
Yep.
Okay, let's see. Okay, yeah, that looks good. So, let's see. This was this was the Wednesday move. So let's see. This move. So I guess to break down kind of how I look at this and some of the tools that I use, as you can see, I like trend lines. I'm honestly kind of basic with some of these things that I use. I'll use trend lines, and I'll use little zones and boxes, and then I'll use some rays to mark up some specific points. But on this day, I wish I had bar replay, or I would do it that way. But we didn't have this push up just yet. All we had this day was what I could see was, okay, we have a Tokyo session that is above this trend line. We have candles that have printed above the trend line. So that just made the probability of it going back under the trend line very unlikely. So there's a little confluence for us. We can even make that a little bit cleaner, because I'll usually do from wick to wick.
Yeah.
You can see it's kind of messy in there, and right there, once it's breaking out, that kind of gave me the idea that we might see a continuation above, because right here during London, we have all these early buyers, and the early buyers get taken out, and so does the London low. So now that the both sides of Tokyo have been taken out, I'm just looking for some type of confirmation that we're going to go and clear out the London high.
Yep.
So we can just continue on, because like we said, the likelihood of it continuing back down in here and closing candles was pretty unlikely. So I was just looking for something it to bounce off of. And then I also use time to my advantage. So just how I was saying I trade New York time, I have my time setting on UTC London, and 1400 is the true New York open. So see right here, it gives us this, I call this a methane candle. This is where, see how the wicks are relatively the same size, and the body is nice and small in the middle.
Yeah.
When I see that, and then the 1430 candle, which is the New York Stock Exchange open, that's when all the volatility comes in, and I'm usually on the 1 minute. So if we were to go back to this time, oh, is it too far back? No, here we are. Oh, it might be too far back. Oh, it's too far back. But let's just try. Let's try 5 minutes. Okay. There we go. And see how London gave us this point, this top point. Yep. And so because of that, it gave us the information for this trend line. And once candles start closing above it, the probability of it continue higher are very likely. So I think I got in somewhere in this, mess. And I usually just I'll take profit at the London high.
Yeah.
If I'm targeting to go take out the London high, I'll take partials here, and then I'll let the rest run.
So that makes sense. That makes sense.
How in a breakdown, that's usually kind of how I approach most of my trades. And so for this one, like I'll target this, and then say I'm entering here on this break.
Yeah.
Well, so to make it easy, let's say I entered in at 20,000. How I normally enter on NASDAQ, depending on how much, depending on where the account's at and how I'm feeling, I'm usually going in at $20 a point. So one lot. So one lot, and that means that I can let it go against me 100 points down here, and I would only lose $2,000.
Okay.
So I'll typically put like 100-point stop loss with, like 100. I'll usually kind of go in at first with a 1-to-1 trade.
I understand that. But I also have a question regarding this strategy. So basically, I understand that you go with some certain lot size, which is absolutely fine because you're making so much money out of it, right? But also there is something that I would like to ask you. Like, let's say that price indeed reversed against your trade, and you can indeed leave it open for however you want, as long as you lose like 2K, right? But until that point, wouldn't that setup just become invalid? So wouldn't it be better to just close the trade at some sooner rather than letting it go that far below? What do you think about that? Because that would be my first idea to think about.
Trust me, I have this back and forth with myself quite a bit where I'm like, because there are times where I also take that approach where say during the day, maybe the first trade I take, I make $2,000.
Yeah.
So what I'll do on the next trade is I'll go in with a super small stop.
Yeah.
And start risking small. And but it can go both ways, because you can say you trade a little bit smaller where you let the stop loss be rather wide.
Yeah.
But you go in with a small position.
Yeah.
Your stop loss still needs to be somewhere where it is invalid, but something invalid on the 1 minute could still be valid on the 5 minute or the 15. Like your structure could still actually be holding up, because there are times on the 1 minute you're like, oh wait, that just broke structure. It's flipping, it's reversing. My idea is not good. But it's actually a lot of the times just grabbing liquidity or actually setting up for your actual move.
Yeah.
You do need to have your stop or your cut point at a spot that makes sense. But but what I've noticed is I win a lot more of my trades when I go in with the wider stop.
Okay.
And so that's kind of why if I'm really just like trying to build, that's how I'll start. I'll start by risking with big wide stops so that way I can win and stay in the trade. I just want to be able to stay in the idea as long as
Okay. Okay, I understand that, and I totally respect that. So that's why I'm asking to learn more about it, because every trader is different, how they make profits. It totally depends on a lot of things. So, with that being said, I want to show your payouts to other traders out there. So you received over 6K from funding pips.
yeah.
That's not a small amount. So basically, this is a good amount. So what I'm trying to say here is that even though your approach might be different than, let's say, other funded traders that we hosted here, right? It still works because there is not just one approach to make someone profitable, make someone consistent. It's just every trader is different. Their mentality is different. Their background is different. Their trading knowledge is different. So it's going to be different for everyone. So I definitely respect every other opinion out there because we have a lot to learn from profitability, consistency, and I'm really impressed how you can keep that consistency with that kind of strategy. And I'm not saying that to devalue your strategy. I'm saying that your risk management is good because your risk to reward ratio is good. Your win rate is good, and you can carry that. And you manage to like form an idea, form a strategy that allows you to use wise stop losses, right? So that you can actually go more comfortably, which shows me that you also cracked some code in your mental game, which allows you to like hold the trade even if it goes against you. Because how many of us just looked at the screen and saw that we got stopped out by just 1 pips or 2 pips, right? And I'm really happy that it works for you. So that's why I'm like paying attention to these points, but not to devalue anyone's strategy. It's so important. It works, everyone. So just find one that works for you. So I think that's
It's like,
important.
I know, like, people have to also remember is like, I'm no expert and I'm just a normal person. Like, I literally am still working that same restaurant job, but just making this extra money on the side, you know. But I now look at the restaurant job as side money, and this is like my real job now. But
It's amazing.
that's what I'm saying, y'all. Like, you can just be a normal person. You don't even have to be, you know, you have to be educated in a way. Like, you do have to go through the YouTube and the trials and errors, learn the strategies. Like, trust me, I've watched plenty of, you know, ICT videos, the SMT. Like, I've gone through all of the typical stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you have to go through that stuff, but you can create your own everything with this. You can personalize your whole strategy, how you risk, what you trade. It doesn't have to be, you know, what everyone else is doing. That's
Yeah.
the thing. It's like I see what everyone else does, and I kind of just nitpick at it and see how I would do it differently.
Yeah, yeah. That's perfect, actually. And I think that helps us mentally because there is not just one strategy that works. And it's really also weird for profitable traders to, when I ask them, it's like, so what strategy do you use? And like, what do you do? The profitable ones, they can just explain what they do in just 1, 2, 3 sentence tops, and then it's very simple. You trend lines and some certain sessions, and that's all, right? Breakouts,
When
etc.
you really think about it, then you realize that that's not like, those aren't even really strategies.
Yeah,
Those are just tools that you use to
exactly.
analyze. So
Exactly.
when because I see the topic all the time, what strategy do you use? I think real traders realize that there is no strategy, and all you can do is manage your risk.
Exactly, exactly. So because even just even the worst strategy will work for you if you consistently do the same thing again, if you consistently go through the same thought process, mental process, it's going to give you profits. You just have to keep going. I love that, actually. So my last question to you is that I see that you have some journey out here, right? So over 100K payouts last year, and this year also going really strong. So what would you advise to other traders out there who are trying to be just like you, who are trying to pass
Get
an account or just get funded and then blow it the next day and then trying to get funded again? What should they do differently to get where you are today?
I think the same advice I was kind of saying earlier, and it's what I've been saying to my friends that are they're new and they're getting into trading. One of them has gotten like one or two payouts, and so it's people like that he's struggling, but he's gotten a payout. Like he's
Yeah,
proven at one point in time that he can pass the phase one, pass the phase two, and get funded.
yeah,
But I think what people need to do is they need to look at themselves, analyze where they're at financially, what situation they're in. If you're like most people that don't have capital, don't have excess capital for challenges really, and like every challenge that you take is going to cost, like it's going to hurt to pay that money,
yeah,
you and you don't have the skill set yet, you just need to take a step back and start small.
yeah,
You need to buy the smallest prop firm account possible and prove that you even have the skill set. Like I developed my skill set through different ways, like trading personal capital.
yeah,
Like back before I even was doing prop firms, it was load $1,000 into a personal account and try and flip it.
yeah,
And the amount of times where I took 1K to 10K, but then blew it, I still learned in those times. Like
yeah,
taking 1K to 10K is still like a feat in itself. So, but like it cost me so much money to do that, to learn that way. So what
yeah,
people need to do is you need to learn the right way to trade, because the prop firms do set you up in a way to learn how to trade in in a way that you can do it over a long period of time,
yeah,
having the barriers of the max daily limit and the max limit. If you can adhere to those rules and work within those parameters on a small account and find consistency there, it will translate to the bigger accounts. And then from there, you start with that 150K, 100K account and get that first payout to where you're now risk-free.
yeah,
That $400 that you paid for the account, you get it back, you're risk-free, and then you reinvest back into your business. Like if you make, this is some issues that some of my friends had. They would make a 5K payout and fund their lifestyle. No, you make $5,000 in trading. That's not your money. It's your trading business's money. If
yeah,
you want to make more with trading, you have to reinvest it back into your business. I mean, for me, prop firm trading is a business. I
yeah,
look at the whole structure as a business, just like y'all do. I have a certain amount of capital that I can put towards challenges every single month, and I'm looking for a return on those.
yeah,
I'm looking to see what's going to be the ROI on those challenges. So if you put in a $400 account, a $400 100K account, and you get a 10K payout, I mean, what's the risk to reward on that?
yeah,
Crazy.
yeah, yeah. Definitely. I totally agree with that. And seeing prop firms as businesses, I think is the right way to become actually profitable in this journey, because otherwise you're going to buy a lot of accounts, you're going to blow on a lot of accounts. But if you actually keep track of what you buy, what you make, what you blow, and you will be able to see like your return of investment at the end, right? And I think that's what also
Profit
matters.
is
So
a real business, and you
yeah.
have to set yourself up as a real business, or else you're just I mean, you're just going to get a little bit of extra money here and there, but it's never going to really turn into the career you're looking for
Exactly.
unless you take it as serious as a business.
Yeah, exactly. Thank you, Austin. I really like the points that you made here, and I learned a lot about having different kinds of risk management strategies, and overall does not necessarily mean that someone's not profitable, someone's not trading good. It all depends on the person and like what their mental capacity is, what their understanding of trading is. So, and I think these were really important points. So, thank you for joining in, and I'm really happy to meet you.
Yeah, you too. This was awesome, y'all.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And for the ones that are watching, I'll see you guys on the next one.